sworn in. Kate Bizarre, Kate, welcome to the board. You will have voting rights as an alternate. An alternate can sit with the board, ask questions, but can't vote unless the chair authorizes that member to be replaced by a missing member. So Kate will be acting in the place of Christine Lee. Okay. We have a busy schedule tonight. So let me start off by roll call, please. John Mullen here, Chair.
Roxanne Tuskey, been here, BOS rep.
John Quinn, Sunrise Lake Village District Rep.
Kate Bizarre.
Kate, what's that?
Kate Bizarre.
Oh, she did? Oh, thank you. All right, so first order of business here is we're going to try to take some consideration of the applications that we have on file here, so that we've been addressing for the last couple of months or so. And the first one that we want to address is the Sindor subdivision plan map 16 lot 9. I got a call from Mr. Sindor this morning, this afternoon, I think it was, concerning another delay that he would like to have. We have not looked at his application. We have had a hearing. We haven't formally accepted it, formally checked it out, but we had a hearing. Mr. Sindor believes that he is still working on some issues concerning easements, trying to work that out, and I advised him that with the board's acceptance, that we accept his delay for another month, January 9th. Does the board have any issues with that?
No, I'll make a motion that we extend
Yeah.
extend it until January
Yes.
9th.
January 9th, I believe.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Motion carried. Just as a note, I told Mr. Sindor that hopefully we encourage him to have his issues resolved, and if they're not, we are going to proceed with the application. As far as the hearing is concerned, I will open the recess hearing that we had. And since Mr. Sindor is not here to defend whatever, I'm going to recess the hearing until January 9th. My advice to him is that's a drop dead. That's a drop dead meeting date. We will act upon his application. Now, what that means doesn't mean that it's accepted. We'll go through the application, and we look at the application, and basically it's looking at his submitted documents, primarily the survey plan, survey plan correct. We go by a checklist that follows our site regulations, our development regs, item by item. If we accept it, that it's complete. Then we will resume the hearing for discussions on the application. Once the hearing is concluded, we can decide whether to table it for the time being for us to do further research on the application, vote on it. That would be dependent on the board, what the board wants to do after that. If we have further questions that we want to be addressed or whatever, we can. And we have, once that's done, our clock is 65 days. So our next meeting after January 9th is closer than 65 days. Now, we can vote on approval of the application on the 9th. But it depends on what transpires in the hearing, what transpires with Mr. Sindor and his resolutions or whatever he's going to do. My theory on this is to try to accommodate all applicants, residents, an opportunity to complete their application to the public input. Not trying to stall anything, I'm trying to accommodate everything. I know that there are people here for that hearing, and I am sorry that it's been delayed 4 or 5 times, and you've come down here, but we're trying to, it's hard to balance, trying to do the best we can. So our decision is to delay it in the hearing, and since I reconvened the hearing, I am going to recess the hearing on January 9th. If anybody has comments on that, we will have a public comment later after we go through these subdivisions, and certainly make comments then. Okay. Next on the agenda is Hertel subdivision, Pinkham Road, map 8, 11, and 8 lot 11 and 14. And we will open the hearing. As we do that, I open the hearing at whatever that is.
6:37.
6:37, thank you very much. And Jeff, do you have anything new that you would like to present, maps or anything?
Not at this time. We presented we turned in the plans that you guys have.
Yep.
If there's any need for explanation for the board members, I'm happy to go through that. It's pretty simple. It's an 8-lot subdivision. It meets all the road frontage requirements for the zoning. It meets the 5-acre plus upland requirements for the zoning.
Where is that? Where is that map?
I can put one.
Oh, yeah. Would you put the map on? We had some questions, and I'd like you to explain. We had some questions about dimensions on the map and previous maps,
Yeah.
so forth and so on. So, no?
So there was a question on the furthermost easterly line that abuts tax map 8 lot 12. And my surveyor and I have gone through it extensively. I have a letter from my surveyor.
I think we
Do you all have a copy?
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't have.
Okay. When we went through that, we went through, my surveyor and I went through the line that was in question. And on our new plan, we have referenced a plan that was done for Eccleston back in 1983. It was a boundary survey for Walter.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that's in referring to. I have copies of that plan for the board. Basically, back in 1983, that was subdivided. Can you guys share one?
Oh, I think you can.
Okay.
Um,
The property was surveyed. It was approved by the Middleton Planning Board and recorded in the Stratford County Registry of Deeds at book 24A, page 20. I've highlighted the line in question, I believe. And if you see, if you reference this to our plan, the length is exactly. And the dimensions are basically the same. What has changed is when they surveyed this for Eccleston, they went one way around the property. That's why it reads north 36 degrees west. My surveyor went the other way, so it reads southeast. Now you're going to say, well, one says 36 degrees, one says 51 degrees. The difference there is that when they did this plan, they used magnetic north. What they use now is grid north. And that's between 15 and 17 degree difference. And that's where the difference is. That's where
Is that where this dimension kind of?
Yes, exactly. Yep. So if you compare this line that was surveyed back in 1983 and what my surveyor has on our plan, they are basically identical, other than the fact that one was done in one of the plans was done in magnetic north and one was done in grid north, it doesn't change the direction of the line, but it changes how it's shown.
How it's shown.
How it's shown. Yep. So that's basically how we came up with that line. Again, this was done, approved, and recorded in 1983. There was a plan done for the Deprecios, which shows part of that coming off of Pinkham Road, and then it shows just a straight line that goes up. That line was not surveyed at that time. That's this plan right here. It was just a reference that Thaddeus Thorne put on this plan, which would be this line in question. There was never any surveying done on it. It was just put here for reference. This is
But this is what we're looking,
this is the line that comes up off of here.
this is.
Yep, so see this right here?
Oh, okay.
That's this.
Oh, all right, yep.
Yep.
That's this here.
Yes.
Yep, and this was just for reference. Dave Douglas just put this on here for reference. This was never surveyed, there were never any meets or bounds put on this, and the plan was approved just the way this was. I just bring this up, if the confusion is because of that, that was never surveyed. It was just shown there so that they could map, they could locate map 8 and lot 12 on that
Okay,
plan.
so the property up here where you're bringing down, or on the map there,
Mhm.
you're putting a, what are you putting?
Oh, where it's own land, but it's 50 feet wide.
50 feet wide.
Yep.
This is the back lot, attaching the back lot.
Right. The plan is to merge that with the abutting lot.
Okay, let me get this.
Sure. Okay, you guys? Good. So basically, parcel A and parcel B, the Gagneys are looking to purchase from us. So this would basically be once they own it, then the lots would merge.
These two lots.
Yeah, this lot here, and this is the second lot of record, the 50 feet coming
Oh,
out.
this is another one.
Yeah, that's 0.69 acres.
So this lot here.
Well, it goes with this lot, but we showed it separately so that it was included with what was gonna go to the Gagneys.
So the subdivision is subdividing here.
Yep, this lot would go with them, along with this 0.69 acres, would go with the Gagneys. And then we have the additional lots from there.
Okay, this is.
That's the pork chop rule in the zone. Yep.
And this is going to.
This is going to the Gagneys.
Yeah.
Mhm. If they decide to do that. If not, then we'll have to redo the lot.
So,
Yep.
so this is going to be a lot, right?
It's not, well, not,
No,
it's
no.
not in essence,
It's part of this lot.
it's part of that lot, correct.
Okay,
Yep,
and your subdivision really is this.
yes. The reason why we had to show it this way is because these are two different tax maps,
Okay,
lot numbers.
okay. So it goes this way and this way.
Yep.
Okay. And this, similar situation.
Pork chop lot. Yep,
If you have a back lot, you're going through here, this is 50 foot.
Yep.
Allowed.
Yep.
Go through here, and this would be the lot.
correct. Yep.
Did everybody see that?
No.
What's this lot here? You want to get up and?
This lot here, 25 acres.
I believe.
Yeah, if you see this, it combines them, so that means one. Yeah, the only reason why we had to show this here is because of the different lot numbers. If not, we wouldn't have shown that line.
The stone wall, that's what it's saying.
Yeah, so this just represents that the lots, that
Yeah,
this
sure.
is right here. and
I was looking at it.
But this becomes one lot.
Right.
This is one lot.
Correct. Yeah,
So this is the piece that's what.
that's my understanding.
That's
Yeah.
highlighted on.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
He's from the first one here. And because county's porch come across the road, just their property here. He's in. Around here.
Right, yeah. So you haven't shown where it was next to the road.
Hey,
So right, it should.
Because he's
Because it's being added to this. It doesn't,
It's not a.
it's not a separate buildable lot.
It's just some weird connection.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's literally just connected.
Just connecting the two lots, so we don't have to show road frontage on it.
That was my
yeah, it's like one big lot with a little narrow
Strip.
strip.
That gives them access to get to it. Yeah,
Because there's also a right of way
correct.
up here to get to.
Are you planning on, I mean, I know you have horses. Are you planning on, is that gonna be like,
That's the whole point, yeah, so
Yeah.
we're stuck, the road's just dangerous. So,
so it's not gonna be connected through the road,
exactly.
and it's not gonna interfere with Mr. Frame's.
Well, but that's
You
the
pronounce his
question
name?
is,
This might have.
that's the
This
question.
subdivision here, that little portion, look at, over the two deck. We're using the process.
What year was this?
2013.
So that's more recent.
My land, we went.
And it's like,
My land is
and
1477, which is more recent than 83, each of them.
So your property was surveyed after 83?
It's not surveyed, it was sold, it was subdivided from this land in 1977,
Yep,
and sold this 5-acre stone.
yep.
So our concern with this obviously is connecting to that land is vitally important to us, but so is not hurting our neighbor.
Right.
If his deed says he has 5 acres, my husband is a CAD professional, that's what he does for work. He worked up Dave's property boundaries based on the deed, and it only gives him 3.6 acres.
Okay, so I can tell you, I had my property surveyed down 153 within the last 10 years. My tax bill says I have 3 acres. Well, I had a survey, I only have like 2 acres.
Well, that's the
So
thing,
this,
yeah.
if you think this is an issue, you ought to go over to the lake.
Oh, I can imagine, but here's the question is for me, is I don't want to steal land from my neighbor.
If you-
If we buy that land and it turns out that, we just want to be sure what's what. If we buy that land and it turns out we're basically taking land that Dave's been paying taxes on for almost 10 years, that's not right by me. And also, that would gobble up that tiny little alleyway, no longer connecting it to our property.
This is why you have, this is why things are surveyed, is because you, so
Right.
you can get to the correct boundaries and points and stuff like that.
two different surveyors came up with two different easements and boundaries.
Well, these two different methods of finding north.
Right, of finding north. They didn't come up with different lines, they came up with different ways of finding
So
north.
this is, although I did not get it surveyed on my property, it is surveyed in the sense that this line is surveyed here, the subdivision, 10 years ago. Now you get surveyed, the only line that wasn't surveyed was the gas line here, you get surveyed that. And the only line that connected is this line here that is penciled in here, and you've got that. When I purchased that 5 acres,
It's a mess.
it's got stone wall all the way around.
We already
And it's
assessed
described, starting
property
at stone
for
wall
5
down
years.
here, and
Survey
coming out to this corner, from here to here.
Is it surveyed, David?
No.
It's not surveyed. This was done in 1983. This was approved by the planning board and recorded in the traffic name, and that's the line that's shown right here.
Okay.
So I don't know how it can be argued.
It can be argued in the sense that my deed reads that it comes along this stone wall, this stone wall, and this stone wall. So it's encapsulated within those stone walls, and it is 5 acres, and that is the rule, 5 acres. Now, I remember that it's.
Well, stone wall to stone wall to stone wall is a very old description. That's,
Right, that's why this line, when it gets penciled in, changes that. You can draw it here, or here, or here, and.
I guess I could draw it here. We found this pin from the 83 subdivision, right here,
275.
right there. We found it. It was found, that way,
Okay.
in 2022.
That's it, it's right,
Right here.
right here.
And we found that in 2022.
So if that's incorrect now,
Well, it's
You-
correct by this.
Your property is stone wall to stone wall, and I understand that. And I can see where you would think that that means that that's what it is, but tax maps and deeds that aren't meets and bounds, they're just old descriptions.
so what I.
Meets and bounds, Kelly, would be like north 37 degrees east with the front.
So what I was sold 5 acres,
You might not have been told 5
Right,
acres.
correct. And that's,
It's got nothing to do with that line, because that line has been surveyed twice in 83 and in 2024, and it came out the same. And this pin was found and this hash was
so technically what typically happens, Dave, unfortunately, is that you would have to have your property surveyed, and it's gonna come back, and it's
Yeah.
probably gonna tell you it's not 5 acres. And that's the true way to find out what their acreage is.
Yeah, you have to get your property surveyed.
What did you say was found here?
There was an old blazed ash tree up there.
Well, which is probably.
That's what was on the original plan.
I did see that somewhere.
Unfortunately, that's how they,
They used to do it.
I've been reading
So how did that ash tree go from there up now to my driveway up here on this, the street?
It didn't. It didn't. It didn't. It's just there where it originally was.
Your flags are right there on my driveway.
Flags don't necessarily say.
That could be wetlands delineation, that could be anything.
I was about to say, we own along your driveway, so if their flags are on our driveway, that's our land.
They're up here, they're up here.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say. Yeah, okay.
They went through the woods here, and I spoke to them about that one. I said, when you cut these trees, I think you're, part of that land is mine. He said, well, listen, that's just for cutters. We're going to leave you a buffer zone, especially down here by the house and what have you, which they did somewhat, but it was not cutting everything. They cut all the trees in the back, so right up through the flags. But flags were here, the flags were way over here.
Yeah, but that's because we have to leave a buffer from the property line.
Until a month and a half ago. All of a sudden, I lit up on my driveway. That's what caught my attention. We're over there.
What's up on your
The flags.
Maybe the flags are in the wrong place, but this line is correct.
line? This one here?
It only is 200 feet across the stone wall.
I understand that, but you don't know what your frontage is. You don't have a survey. I have two. I understand where you would be misled.
Per King's 1947 it says from the point, 275 feet to the corner
Yeah,
to here,
yeah,
and along this stone wall.
okay,
Okay?
yeah.
No, it doesn't have north and southwest, I understand that. But it says he has 275 feet across the front of his property.
Okay.
Also, unfortunately, is when they did it in 1948, they just gave it as a right,
Yeah.
275 by 800,
Yeah.
which we can't run with because
You can't run with it.
it's not. But it also states that, yes, this is correct. This is the only line that's spoken. He does have a 275 across the front, but with all these cutouts, it does meet for his 5 acres.
Okay. I mean, I could say to you, David, you're gonna have to have a surveyor go out, you're gonna have to spend $5 or $8 grand and have it surveyed.
It's already,
And,
it already is surveyed.
Well, that's
no, it's not.
The boundaries are there. The
That's
boundaries
not-
have been
Doesn't
surveyed.
matter.
that's not a survey.
As far as-
Survey is
as
a
far as
plan that
we're-
comes in and it's been surveyed by a
No, no,
company
no,
that
I'm not
tells
saying this, I'm not saying this is surveyed, I'm saying this line is all surveyed.
Yeah, it's right there.
This is all surveyed, this is all surveyed, the only one that wasn't surveyed is this right here, and they did that in 2023.
Yeah, 282 feet.
Right. It's
Yeah.
actually 7 feet more than the.
So this line should be over here, Mike?
I'm saying there's nothing wrong with that line. I'm saying this stone wall that comes along here is a stone wall, it is what it is, okay? But when the 275 feet, this line doesn't start at 275, nowhere near it, it starts at 200. And then all we need is 3.6 acres for the property.
I don't know what to tell the board, other than the fact that I believe that we have proven our point on that line. I have no interest in delaying this so that David can get his property, take 8 or 10 weeks to get his property surveyed to prove, to come back and say that we were right originally. We have a survey from 83, we have a survey from 24 that shows the same thing. And the 83 plan was approved by the town of Middleton and recorded.
Very good. Any other questions or any other comments?
I've got a couple of things.
Okay.
So first of all, what type of subdivision is this? A minor or a major subdivision?
You know what you have to show that there's a
Major.
5 acre upland.
It's a major subdivision. It should be noted that it is a major subdivision.
It was
He filled out for both.
See this right here?
Um,
Yeah.
But because it is a major subdivision, I think I think we are required to notify the town departments and commissions for input on this in writing. I'm not seeing a lot of detail in the wetlands. I'm not seeing a stormwater drainage plan.
Did you supply a report
No, we're still working on that, so that could be a condition.
on the wetlands?
Yep, it's just our wetland scientist has almost got it down, but it just won't.
That's a
prepare.
soil, that's.
Yep, but we have a full
You
topo
have a
plan
soil,
that shows
you have a
everything.
soil,
Soils are on the topo plan.
soil plan or study that was done on the initial.
Yes, but I didn't submit that because I thought you wanted something specific to that.
Okay.
I'm not seeing any safety or fire ponds indicated on that plan. That road is a dead end. What are the ramifications of that?
What road?
Pinkham Road is a dead end.
Why would we
There's
need
only
a
one.
fire pond? We didn't on the
Why
other
you
one.
need a fire, I don't care what you need it on other plans. We need access, that would be up for the fire department to, that would be up for the fire department to let us know what they require for safety of the people that live down that road. That road is indicated on the capital improvement plan for future road work. Is the town of Middleton going to incur those costs? The school is currently have a maximum of 175 students. And presently, we are at between 148 and 153 students. How many additional students will this subdivision put on the town?
Well, that would depend on who buys the lots.
Well, obviously, but however, should the town incur those costs
If.
with the capital improvement plan in
So
place?
if anybody buys a piece of property, do you look at, in terms of if they have one student or another, two students, you have to.
I'm saying the potential is for 8
Well,
lots, that's
potential-
16
potential
additional
of a single
students.
lot Would be the same. These are
This
individual
is,
lots.
why did we create a capital improvement plan
So-
with impact fees?
So do we do every subdivision an impact fee?
Yes. Especially a major one. And also, are we approving the subdivision a little too soon? We have 2 huge subdivisions created just within the last 5 years, one on Pinkham Road of how many? I think like 10 lots, and how many over here across the street? 15?
Does the board not approve a subdivision of these regulations?
Premature, could be considered to be premature and scattered.
Scott, you have something to say?
Well, I think some of it was answered, but I had some questions as far as the wetlands, because I noticed on some of them, they kind of petered out as far as on the plans, almost as though there wasn't. I'm assuming that's based on future plans that are coming forward.
Wetlands have all been delineated, we're just waiting for the report. So the plan shows everything's been located in Middleton.
And then the other part of that I would just bring up is, obviously, it's a significant amount of wetlands. What's the status of EPA coverage?
Of what?
EPA coverage? And should the town require somebody to monitor that as far as these lots go? With the wetlands?
I don't know.
No, I'm saying there's a lot of wetlands in here. So with that said, is the EPA going to follow it?
No.
Two, should the town consider having somebody monitor this subdivision based on that? Because as we know down in the Lakes District, we've got huge water flow problems down we took plans for face value years and years ago when we approved that. And now we have homes on top of homes that are built in wetland throughways, and we have significant drainage issues down there, which you're well aware of. So
Okay.
with that said, I just question, from a planning board standpoint, based on the layout and the plans that I've looked at, I think it would be beneficial to have further review of that and maybe a monitoring of it on the subdivision. Next question I have is, are all these lots eligible for driveway permits?
No,
It shouldn't be, they have the front.
there's a 200-foot front.
But I'm just looking at, again, at wetlands, wetland placement, where they are, you have all the requirements there. You meet the requirements for road frontage, for driveway permits, et
I
cetera.
believe those, the.
I'm not saying that they
the
don't, I'm just saying that we thought of that, and that we asked, that we had it reviewed.
The regulations, I believe, say about buildable lot, you can't take into consideration wetlands. In other words, if you have a lot that sites out 5 acres and you've got an acre of wetlands in there, okay, you can't build. You can't create that lot.
Correct.
Okay, so you have to change that lot to
Correct.
accommodate the wetlands.
Correct.
The planning board, as far as I am aware, has no regulation that says wetlands are to be monitored. We have a lot of wetlands in this town. We have Tanglewood, who's monitoring that.
You're correct. But what I'm telling you is that you have the ability for that. And had we done that back then, we may not have half the issues with water flow and drainage down there that we currently have.
Would that not be something for the planning board to look at in terms of their zoning ordinance and their development regulations? Because it's not in the development regulations, anything monitoring that I'm aware of. Is anybody aware of that?
And I would think, obviously with the amount of wetlands and wetland within here, I would hope that you're including conservation in any of this as well.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, I should think that no further subdivision on these lots would be helpful.
The what?
No further subdivision, including on the deed. Oh, and also another thing I'm not seeing on this is it's considerable snowmobile and recreational trail that cuts through there. I'm not seeing that on this plan.
It's up to the landowner if they allow that to go through, we don't necessarily have to.
We can ask
That's
you.
all up to the private owner.
No, it's required on our subdivision regulations, number 20.
I believe you have to show.
Existing access roads, recreational trails, snowmobile trails, and boundaries such as stone walls, barbed wire, etc. Item 20 of the major subdivision application.
We can have this.
You know how important recreational trails are in your state for tourism and for our local community.
I know there was one in there where they did the logging last year, they tore it all up.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other questions?
Would now be the right time to speak up and ask questions?
To do what?
To ask some
Are you
questions?
opening it to the public?
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt.
No. This is a hearing where you can ask all the questions you want.
So, yeah, I'm Kelly Benedetti. I live at 20 Kingdom, one of the abutters. Actually, Kate, you've already hit on some of the things I have been thinking of. Again, we live in a tiny country town. We all love it. The reality is we're 20 minutes from a city that's going to get developed. Our country town's not going to stay country forever. So that being said, I've been thinking about how to limit the negative impacts, such as students in the schools, and as well as our little road with a little weight limit on it. We've already had our awesome town crew do some culvert repairs. Having all of this massive amount of very heavy equipment coming through there all the time is likely going to damage that little road. So I had done some quick searching, and apparently it is possible to request developers' fees that can go towards funding schools, as well as paying for road damages. And that depends on things like the amount of materials they're moving, the weights of their vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. You can't simply say, we want you to fix all of Lincoln Road. It has to be down to very specific things. But I don't feel it is up to the taxpayers of Middleton, who really want to pay for that out of their pockets. So if it would be possible, again, I'm not fighting the development. You know, he who owns it can do what he wants. But the damage to the rest of the town, if we can mitigate that with some developers' fees, that would be great. And as far as what you had been referencing, in a previous meeting, I believe maybe in the conservation board, I remember something coming up about a monitor in a different town, it wasn't even in this town. The town had not chosen to have someone monitor wetlands, and of course wetlands were destroyed and it caused a huge problem. I don't know what goes into choosing a monitor or having somebody monitor the wetlands, but to me that just makes common sense. If there's wetlands in a project, to me, having someone pop in once a month, once every couple of weeks, just to say, hey, you just plowed over half wetland, that to me is just common sense. So as a town, and especially where we have the wetlands next to the lake, already having all of these water issues, and having the Tanglewood area, which is also, I'm sorry, didn't move down, the area, which is possibly going to be conservation with their water issues, it doesn't seem like it's an option to me. We need someone to monitor those wetlands. That's not really an option. If it has to be a professional, well, then maybe that cost can be taken up by the developer. If it can just be someone appointed by the town, then I'm sure you'll have plenty of volunteers willing to go out and take regular pictures and just make sure they're done properly. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, Dave?
I've got a question regarding the taxes that I paid on 5 acres that I apparently haven't had since I purchased the property. I've overpaid on my taxes for 10 years now, nearly 10 years. And if I indeed don't own this strip of land, as they're saying I don't own this strip of land, which they're selling to someone else now, that's been taken from my written deed, which was never surveyed, and they're taking this land that I've been paying taxes on and have owned on paper until now. And they're selling it to somebody else, obviously they're going to be paying taxes on it, and am I going to be paying taxes on the same piece of land? Or is my land going to get changed down to the 3.5 acres that it actually is, and if it gets changed to that, then what about the taxes I paid for the past 10 years on the land that I didn't have? How can it, how's that going to work out?
Well, one option the planning board does have is we could hire our own surveyor at the developer's cost to ascertain where those lot lines are.
Well, these lines are defined by the stone wall on 3 sides.
Do you have your deed?
On my written deed. They're defined by the stone walls. And the only actual line that could be made is this line that he's drawing here now. And on the white physical description of that property, they say they pin it to be set.
They have the meets and bounds, don't they, Dave? Does it have your meets and bounds on your deed?
I'm not sure.
Okay, the actual measurement,
Yes, but Chris said that they were done as a true rectangle, 275 by 800 by
right?
75 by 800. The stone wall obviously isn't a true rectangle. The boot on the bottom is not a rectangle, making a curve. And this line is nowhere near the 275. It's been moved over to 200.
And those are the same meets and bounds that are written on your deed?
Yes, in
It's
1977.
800 by 275 by 800 by 275?
Correct. Yeah. So that is 5 acres. And that 5 acres was described within those 3 stone walls. So that line that's imaginary on every map, still, other than they have surveyed it, and in my opinion, moved it over 75 feet, is an imaginary line. It needs to be correct. It needs to be brought out to the 75 feet in the front, and to get the true 5 acres, which I was sold, not me personally, but I was deeded the true 5 acres, which was sold from that property. It's my understanding that Mr. Hertel, Senior Van Hertel, didn't even think that this property came from here. He thought it came from the DeBrizio property. So when he did a subdivision, they should have subdivided all the way over to the stone wall. Not subdivision, excuse me, a survey. Should have been all the way over to the original stone wall, which is original property. And then my 5 acres subtracted from that, and then surveyed from there. not surveyed from the other end all the way up and taking half of my land. That's not right. That came from this property. They sold this land once, and now they're taking it from me and they're selling it again. And like I said, I've been paying taxes on it. If nothing changes, I'm going to still be paying taxes on it. They're going to be getting taxes on it. You're getting double taxes. You know, how can this be right?
Well, my understanding that if we make decisions on documents that are presented to us and comments, obviously, that are presented to us by the applicant, we also go by a certified survey. And if there is a dispute concerning the,
Isn't 5 acres the government?
I'm sorry?
Isn't 5 acres the government? 5 acres is 5 acres, correct?
5 acres depends on what is surveyed, not necessarily what a deed is, and that would be something that you would have to determine and work out with the property owner. It's not our place to make that
I
decision.
understand
We make a decision on a certified plot plan here, survey, if you will, that's based on a survey that was done prior, okay? Yes, you have a deed that says X and Y, but we go by the survey when we make a decision.
So surveyors often make mistakes,
They do.
and we can require another survey, and we can ask the applicant to pay for it,
Yes, you could, probably. I would,
unless they can come to an amicable agreement.
well, we're not, the board is not in a position to make a legal decision. That's not our purview. We make a decision based on the facts that are presented to us
And the
here.
facts are-
If there is a dispute
Yeah.
on that, then that is between the two property owners
No.
to figure out.
We can't make something that's illegal legal.
Well, we don't know, we don't know.
That's why we need more evidence.
I think we have evidence here
No.
that that line is correct. You may disagree with that, but that's.
Right, I need more evidence.
That's fine. In terms of asking boards to come, you know. like
We need their
fire
input.
department,
No, we need their input. They don't have to come to the meetings.
We may do that. Doesn't say we have to.
Well, we
may.
should.
What's that?
We should, for the
That's
protection of the people of the town.
That's fine, but it's not mandatory. It says may. Okay? That would be up to the board's decision whether to do that. Okay. Yes, Scott?
Just thinking of, and I wasn't here for the beginning of this, but I'm just thinking of this from a legality standpoint, especially with the fact that Kate just brought up the fact that their surveyors make errors, and you acknowledge that, and they do make errors, and I think you actually stated they make a considerable amount of errors. So, with that said, what happens then if you approve this plan, and in the interim, Mr. Dufresne gets his property surveyed, and you find out that this is now an error? That this is an error, and he has now incurred a considerable amount of money to show the board that there was an error on that.
Especially if that land
If-
has been sold to
if
someone
the-
else.
I guess my issue there is that you're voting on something, and there is enough, in my opinion, doubt that has been raised, that I think you need to take the proper channels to confirm validity before making a decision. That's my 2 cents.
I've got this colored map here, which doesn't have the numbers in the surveys, all that included.
And whether that is that the board decides to hold off on a decision on this, to give him 30 days to do it on his own or not, ultimately that's on him. I'm not saying necessarily that you have to or the town has to pay for a survey, but ultimately, if he's given the opportunity and chooses not to, then that's on him. But I think from a legal standpoint, personally, there's enough doubt raised here that I think we need to,
That scenario, what you're saying, if we make a decision, and that doesn't have to be tonight, we have 65, we have to go through the application to see if it's
Right.
correct. And it's basically just, I don't know what you call it, but it's measured, it's not saying whether that is correct. Do you have A, B, C, do you have the right signature, do you have a north? That's basically what this is. We accept the application as correct, complete. He's given us all that stuff now. The wetlands thing, we have done this in the past as conditional, but we don't have to make a decision tonight. We have 65 days to make a decision.
No, we have to accept his application, it's complete,
Complete.
yeah, and
That's it. We can
it is
adjourn,
not.
we can adjourn the decision until, we have the clock starts, 65 days. So if we make a decision that survey is correct and we approve the subdivision, and later on, somebody comes forth, this is the phrase over there, comes forth and says, and he determines that it's incorrect, okay? Then you can resubmit to the board, have a hearing, and the board can make a judgment on whether that's right. I mean, that's in here, it's called resubmittal. I believe there's a time frame on that, I believe it's a year, I think, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm checking that.
Oh.
So, that's workable. In terms of the planning board making a decision on whether to enlist a third party, that's the board's decision based on discussions that we have on the project. So that's how that process, I understand, works.
There's also we gotta find out about this monitoring of the wetlands and those are substantial wetlands. They are very important. It's a big part of the watershed into Sunrise Lake. When we had those rains 2 years ago, we had all of that cyanobacteria in the lake, and a big portion of that, I'm sure, was because of all the logging that had been done on the other side of Silver and on Pinkham Road. And I've had anecdotal evidence that all of that logging over there on Silver has just been sheeting over the road, and I would love to hear, I need to hear from our road crew about how our roads have been affected by all this
Okay, yes.
logging.
Name again?
Kelly Benedict.
Okay, yeah.
20 Pinkham. I'm new to this process, and honestly, I'm really, really surprised that we're approving a major development without consulting police and fire. I would have thought that that was one of the main steps that you would do, just to understand the impacts it would have on town safety and what's needed to, again, I'm still there in pro-development, I'm just accepting the development, but we're making a decision here that will impact this town forever. It seems like it would be very irresponsible to approve any type of division, much less a major division, without going to fire and asking what will you need to fit this into your parameters of safety? How many more people? How much more equipment? The fact that we're going to approve a major development without saying, hey, fire, what do you think? To me, that's a big practice. That should be part of our process.
But is it not my understanding, Don, that we can get their input, but we can't, if they've met all the criteria on the documentation, the application, and everything, we can't stop that.
Oh, no.
I mean, we can certainly ask for the input. It's no different than asking for the input for a 80 unit right down here,
Well,
you
here's
know.
the thing though,
So-
that can play directly into developers' fees. Again, what I'm talking about is costs to the community. If we're talking about this needing, now we need a new fire truck, or we need a new what have you, I'm not sure. But this could be something that could be parlayed a little bit onto the developer as a huge impact to the town. But again, like if we're talking about, for instance, fire ponds and things like that, wouldn't that be a part of the initial approval? Okay, yes, you can develop. I'm not arguing that they have the right to develop the land. Absolutely they do. No question. We're talking about smart, intelligent development, not just talking about houses. We're talking about doing it in a way that's not going to harm the town, that's going to be safe for the town. So why, I mean, as far as like fire ponds, that should be on the development plan, right? If the fire department says, ooh, I don't know. But if they say, we need a fire pond, well, that should be on the development plan that's approved, correct? And also, again, if it's something that's going to cost the town money, now is probably the only time in this process where we can go to the developer and say, you're approved, however, we need this for the school, we need this to fix all the damage to the roads that we've caused by your equipment. This is the only time, I'm guessing, in this process that we can do that. We can't go back to them a year from now when they're coming through building and be like, oh, by the way, you trashed our road, we need money. It's too late.
So, in our design review on page 13, it says,
I'm sorry, what's that?
design review, development regulations under formal review, page 13, 3.4. The applicant, now let's see, I had it and I lost it, pardon. Once an application has been submitted to the planning board, it will be sent out for interdepartmental review whereby all applicable town departments and commissions will
What
have.
page is that?
Page 13,
On what document? Sorry.
development regulations.
Page 13.
3.4, formal review, third paragraph, 1, 2, 3. It will be sent out for interdepartmental review
As a
whereby.
Development subdivision approval, right? Subdivision shall require, definition on page 11 says subdivision shall be required for subdivision of any lot, tract, parcel of land, lot line adjustment, condo conversion, so forth and so on. Merging and consolidated lots, that's a merger. And we go through design review, but I was under the impression that we were working here on types of subdivisions, specifically minor or major, and this is a major as by definition, 4 or more parcels are divided from a single lot or building. There's no buildings on here. These are just single lot, building lots, I presume.
I think it's important to note that 4 parcels, not necessarily a major development.
Well, this is
I-
more than 4. This is more than 4.
I'm just
How many-
saying-
How many lots is it, Jeff?
With the 2 parts that we are talking to Kelly about, I believe it's 8.
8 lots.
Still, that's not really a major development. I mean, I know how it's classified. 100 lots is a major development. That would impact the town.
Now, by legal definitions, 4 or more.
I'm just, like, I understand what the legal definition.
Plus the whole subdivision across the street, plus the whole subdivision
Well-
over here.
We need to rely on good faith.
Well, it's been 1, 2, 3. It hasn't been one big subdivision, but if you add them all up, it is.
I understand. I mean, again, there's been a lot of change is scary.
But my whole point was that will send out the interdepartmental
Yeah.
review. That's my whole point. You said it wasn't required, it is required.
Well, also, the trouble is the fire department,
Why then, Kate, on page 31? I believe it's that.
So you're saying you don't want to protect the town's interests?
Kate, I'm not saying that. I'm going
Okay.
by what we have, go by the regulations that we have. I am not saying that, and don't accuse me of that.
I asked you, that was a question.
Somewhere in here it says that in terms of asking, and I'm not saying that's I'm not saying that's a bad thing, to ask input. I certainly agree with that. But it doesn't say in the site regs that I read, that we have to do it. I'm not saying that we won't.
It says will,
It says we may.
and here it says you will.
What does it take to change town policy?
What's that?
What does it take to change town policy? Because I need
Okay,
to
here.
speak up for everyone in this
Oh,
room.
we got-
Okay.
We would all like fire.
There-
We don't
there's-
like fire department.
There's two things. There's a zoning ordinance which require the town vote, whatever changes we make. Any changes that are asked to be made by the planning board, they go on a warrant article. There's hearings on what those changes are.
Okay.
The development regs, which in other towns are called site regs, those are more specific in terms of what you can do, how you do it, like we're going through right now. Those can be done by the planning board without town approval. We have hearings. We haven't changed these since 2016.
We need to.
Well, Would you like to be on the planning board and help us work through those? We'd certainly love to have you.
I'm technically sort of on two of the boards, and I've.
Okay, that's fine.
I barely
That's
been able
fine.
to get to them, unfortunately.
And I will make that offer to anybody in the audience that wants to be on the planning board, because we're trying to do the best we can.
Oh, understood. I know, this isn't a.
No, I understand, So,
But this is something that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Going forward, all developments really should go.
when we
all
have, we
these-
have hearings, please come and make your input. So, we are doing a zoning review right now. And we have some changes that zoning is different than site regs. Site regs are like your procedures, heights of building, roads, all that kind of stuff.
For instance, if I could, okay, well, if you asked for input, I'm going to give you input. Regarding the snowmobile trail, I visited Colorado a while back. They realized the development was getting out of hand. They incorporated green belts. So any developments that were going in actually had to incorporate these like 20-foot wide strips of grass for public use and animal movement into all developments. Where we do have these major snowmobile trails and things in our town connected to the lake, et cetera, and connected to major snowmobile routes, just throwing out the kitty to be considered, maybe we should, going forward, anywhere where there are, or maybe in all developments, maybe we should consider that where our tiny little town is getting developed to such an extent, how harmful would it be to propose, say, greenways in our new developments?
Well, I can answer that. I mean, the snowmobile rights, hiking rights, hunting rights are in the purview of the property owner. We have very generous property owners. Now, in the Lake District, we had an issue with people damaging part of the dam and to the property, so they closed down their property to snowmobiles. Now they go around, just went around the beach, no problem. But it's the property owner's responsibility to grant these.
I disagree.
But what I'm talking about is building it into the development.
You can actually require the developer to put an easement on their property to protect those trails.
You can.
We've done it before.
But what is the, if you put a right of way, if there's damage or misuse, and there have been. Most of the snowmobile are great people. We love our neighbors, we love our friends, we love our visitors. But there's instances of bad behavior.
You're right.
And the property owner has the right to say, not this year. You can go around, you can go bother someone else's property, hunting or,
I
that's just,
think where I was wrong
Yep.
is I think that was an HOA, so therefore it was the HOA that maintained the green belts.
right, and that's fine.
That's a different path.
I mean, again, it's the property owner's rights to develop, to manage. And again, good faith is a big thing because we have a lot of property here, and some of it's from the 18th century with archaic markings of past this road or this stone. We can't tell everyone, survey your own property. That's a cost the town is not going to accept. And it's a tragedy. I mean, I'm in the Lake District, we're on top of each other, and that place is a mess. You look at any of the zoning maps, it's a mess. And it's not anyone's fault who's living. We're sorry. Okay, it's Roxanne's fault. But the point is,
No, my family didn't live over on that side of the lake.
There you
They were on
go.
this side of town.
okay, the point is though, we can't tell everyone to survey their land.
I think.
Yeah, we can.
I think your point is well taken, and certainly,
Yes, we can.
as we move forward on the planning board, doing things, we'll certainly address those. Scott?
In the
Yeah.
town.
Well, I was gonna say, not to continue that topic, but John, I don't think you're understanding what she's saying. She's not saying the property owner, she's saying that the planning board
Yep.
has
Oh, I
the
agree.
ability to designate a greenway, so it's not the individual property owner.
No.
It becomes part of the development,
We
it
think,
becomes an easement.
my understanding, the planning board through its zoning ordinances and its site regs can do a lot of things with putting in greenways, and we do have, for developments, we do have green space, we have yield space, they're in here, for a development, if you have to put in a road, that's a different subdivision altogether. Adams Way comes to mind. So we can address those things as we move forward. In terms of, to be honest with you, in terms of this year, certainly wouldn't be able to do that. On a zoning point of view, on the site regulations, we can take a look at that. But that takes a lot of research a lot of work to get it right, so that property owners are protected, and so that we provide guidance with these documents to protect the town and rights of the property.
The only other comment I have is that a lot of what I hear tonight, other than the boundary line dispute, is the same exact comments, issues, and concerns that were brought up in this development. The Hertel was well aware of those then. I'm assuming he's still well aware of them today. He had acquired this property, and it was asked of him at that hearing what the plan was for this development. And he said right then and there at that I would have to go back in the minutes and look, but it was years out before we would even have to think about processing this. Now, I get that people can develop their land, and I'm all for development within the means and the ability of a community. Where I'm going with my statement is merely this. Schools, fire, police, all of those issues were issues that were raised at his last development hearing. He has now brought a major development in front of you, and I haven't heard an ounce of any concern or addressing of any of those issues that were brought up at the last. So I don't know how you would come today, or over the course of the last couple of months, and propose this development and not anticipate that these same issues would rise up in the hearing and want to be heard. I know the board is a little bit different, so maybe some weren't aware or weren't at that hearing. I believe you were, John. So for me, I just look at it and say, I'm all for development. And it's his land, and he can do as he wishes with it. But I just feel like none of the previous issues or concerns that were brought up were we gave him that development, or we approved that development and moved forward with it. We raised our concerns that moving forward, we were concerned with X, Y, and Z. And now here we are with this development that we did not anticipate as early as we've gotten there. And I haven't heard any answers to any of those previous concerns with this one. Now, I get where your standpoint is as a board. I get where your legality, your authority, and your ability lies. But again, at what cost?
Well, so we don't know who's going to buy these properties. You're just developing, correct?
We're not building on it.
Okay,
We
so-
will have no more equipment going down that road. We will not be anywhere around any wetlands other than the property lines getting marked out. We are
Right.
not developing.
So for all we
We're
know,
subdividing the lots and we're going to sell the lots. As far as I'm concerned, the rest of the regulation falls into the building department when somebody goes to build a house on it.
Yeah.
If you want to make sure that wetlands aren't being impeded when somebody goes to build on it, then the building inspector is
for all we know, we're going to have 8 firefighters and strong, burly children who will help the town. We don't know who's coming in. We're just hoping that the good community is built on this. We want good neighbors. And again, that means managing wetlands, managing recreation, managing the roads. We have a limited fire department. I think the biggest problem is the lack of volunteers, not the equipment or fire ponds. These guys do great work, and the mutual aid does great work, but it's volunteers because of time, because no one works in town anymore. It's a fact. But again, good faith. He's coming here out of good faith. Yes, he's addressed issues. Yes, there'll be more issues to address. And we welcome the public comments because it's crucial to develop our town the way the town wants it. We don't know what's going to happen with these properties. They might sit there for a couple of years and grow back. Or they might be developed tomorrow. We don't know.
That's why we have to protect the town interest.
And we do. But that's a community's work, not just few people volunteering
No,
to the
it
work.
is the planning board's purpose.
No,
That's why the planning board exists.
yes, we are delegated this responsibility by the taxpayers and citizens. And I know we take it seriously. We have a whole crowd of people here who are concerned.
That's right, because they're going to be very, and so isn't the town going to be very severely impacted.
It could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
Perhaps we shouldn't be entertaining the subdivision at this time. Perhaps we should wait till the other ones build out.
and perhaps we end up in a legal,
No, there's such a thing as premature and scattered subdivisions.
I don't know if we could do that. If an applicant comes and wants to do something to the property that is, I get where you're coming from, certainly do. But if an applicant comes to the board and presents a project that complies with the rules and regulations that we have set forth here, and maybe we need to do, and we probably do need to do some additional.
Hasn't completely complied.
That is for us to decide, okay? So the application that has been submitted, we can go through the application, accept it. That doesn't mean the plan is accepted. That doesn't mean we approve it. It means that the data that is given to us there is complete or not complete. Go through item and item. If it's not complete, then the application, you can say it's not complete, we need additional information. If we say it's complete, that means the information that we've been given meets these requirements, okay? Then we have 65 days to do our diligence of things that have been mentioned here in terms of that kind of stuff. And we certainly should do that. So I would suggest that we proceed with the application in terms of its completeness. And then I would say drop back and take a look at our due diligence and some of the comments and brought back here and try to get some of these things resolved. Yes, Dave?
You talk about completeness, is correctness not in that? Kate mentioned, we can't make it, we can't say something that's not correct and sign off on it.
Dave, that is an opinion that you have.
No, it's-
Okay.
Does correctness come into this? Or
We're
just-
going
or
by,
just
we're
completeness?
going, we say the correct, well, I'm not saying the board will decide if that's correct.
My question
By
is,
the application,
my question is, you said, if we determine this to be complete, then we accept.
Mhm.
I'm asking, does it not also have to be complete and correct? If they come in here and just some oddball thing, just come right through the middle of somebody's house,
Doesn't say it
as
has
long
to
as
be.
it's surveyed?
Doesn't say it has to be correct. You want me to read each one of these criteria? It doesn't say
I'm
whether,
just glad my trailer's down on the other side and they come take right through the middle of my house.
all I'm saying is what we decide here is the information that is on there and it doesn't talk about pins, it doesn't talk about anything. I mean, it does talk about it. This is north arrow on the plan. Is the plan to scale? Was it prepared? Does it show the general location, site? Okay, there are details of the plan basically. And the project itself. Show existing buildings. Then we get down to some things, proposed services. Defining purpose of the plan. The purpose of the plan is to subdivide. General description of existing characteristics such as developed productivity, land, meadow, forest, so forth and so on. Summary of drainage and upstream property and discharge downstream from the property. Flood hazard information provided in conformance with the special flood hazards, section 5.012. Reference delineations of easements, right of way, listed on there. State of alteration terrain permits. Parcels are numbered sequentially. See, these are kind of technical things. They're not deciding, we're not deciding that the plan is correct or incorrect right now with going through accepting the application.
Okay.
The applicant has an application.
Okay.
If we don't do it, I mean, we're following the rules there in terms of what we can do. There's other things on here,
You talked
more
about it,
technical stuff.
you talked about if my land is surveyed or not. okay?
What's that?
You asked me if my land was surveyed.
Yes.
You're saying that basically it doesn't count because it was never surveyed. If it's 2 acres or 5 acres, it wasn't surveyed. Okay, here's my point. This property was sold in 1977, which is prior to the 1983 survey there, and prior to the survey there, 2023. Now, this line is surveyed, not my entire property is surveyed. Now, my deed reads 275 feet. I can show you where that survey
You have a survey of the abutting property. You say you do, or you don't? You have a deed that gives a description, correct?
Well, I've got a survey of the stone wall all the way around it. It says,
Is it a certified survey?
yes, this one from this 2023 plot that's approved, the Decreasio, and this one now that's surveyed from them in 2023. These are my lines. Now, when my deed says 275 feet from this rebar that's set right here on this survey, and it only comes down the surveyed line to 200, where's my other 75 feet? They're taking it and they're selling it down to them. How can that be? It is surveyed, although I didn't pay for it. That's what I was saying before. All the lines are there, they're all marked out with these minutes and, or whatever you call them. I'm not
Is
a,
that survey, Jeff, survey, the Decreasio survey matches those points?
The survey that was done back in 2013
Yeah.
does not show that line.
Okay, it does
not
not show
I'm
that
not,
line.
I'm not disputing that line.
It was not part of the
It
subdivision.
shows the boot.
Shows the boot.
And the boot dimensions are the same as on there.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, I'm not disputing that. My deed says on that boot, on that survey, twice surveyed line now, or 3 times surveyed, because they just copied it from the whites and moved it over. So it's been surveyed however many times it's surveyed. My deed says 275
That's not-
feet
that's
along
not a-
that surveyed line, basically, and it's only 200.
All right, does the board want to proceed with the application? I recommend.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, another question.
Yeah, so I just, Janine and I live down on Shore Drive, 54 Shore Drive. We've been here about 3 years, right on the lake. The second year we were here, we could almost not use the lake at all because of the cyanobacteria. We had a couple of cases of it this year, about as bad. I heard something said in this meeting about runoff from some of the other developments and clearings may have already impacted that second year that we had almost no use of our lake. One of the other concerns I have is you're talking about the things that are needed in the application, and, environmental impacts or runoff impacts, water impacts. Is anything done at the time of this application that looks at what the impact might be in subdividing and changing this land and how it's going to impact the quality of our lake? I think that's very important to the entire town and the use of the lake. And we almost lost 1 year of use already in the last 3 years. What kind of impact do all of these subdivisions and all of this development have on the use of the lake and the value of the properties around the lake, and even the value of living in the town if we have a lake that can't be used? And I just think that's very important to be considered in the applications that are mentioned.
Okay, that is part of the application process. Mr. Hertel said that was omitted, and he is in the process of working on that report. So that would be a consideration.
Complete.
He has a, what do you have, a scientist or something?
Yeah, wetland scientist.
A wetland scientist that is developing a report on the impact of stormwater, drainage, and all that kind of stuff.
Is there a wetlands report?
Was that done on our previous developments that have
Yes, it
potentially
was.
caused the problems that we had? in our
There was
last
we have a soil and wetlands.
I don't think there was ever a stormwater drainage report issued.
We
Previous
have
ones, it
a
just-
copy of his
If it
report.
was done, then something might not have been done well or properly, because we've obviously had some impact on the last.
And while he's managing properties on Picnic Road and other roads, there are several properties. The one on Silver Street has nothing to do with him. That was a property owner logging their land.
I
letting
thought he
it grow.
subdivided that property.
He did subdivide. He's been managing several properties, and he has managing several developments, subdivisions, but not all the properties in town are under his purview. And we don't know what caused it. We did know there's some cyanobacteria. We do want a healthy lake. That's the whole point.
Which lot on Silver Street?
Oh,
It's not.
no, it's not even yours. This, someone bought some land near Tanglewood and they logged it, that's their property owner. just like any other property can be logged.
Those were where the issues were coming from what I heard. It was
Well-
over on the New Durham side.
Well, I mean, again, that's just,
That's not part of our
we
discussion.
can't prove that,
For
and
another
it's,
time.
it's not even related to this property.
Oh, but that's why I want the evidence from the road department.
But we need facts. He's why he's working on getting the watershed study, and these are
All right,
very important.
should we move along with the, reviewing the application if it's correct?
Sure, let's review it correctly.
If it's complete.
Complete, I'm sorry. not
It won't be complete because there's 2 reports already and then the
Okay.
lot line,
All right.
yeah.
Then
I
we'll-
mean, we can go through with the cursory things, but
Okay, the application,
Identified.
you have a copy of that? Yeah.
I do, you should have there 2 of them.
Okay.
here's a dumb question. What is the SANAR, I know NA, not applicable, but RW, C, and WA at the top of the thing?
Top, it'll tell you,
Does it?
look up at the top.
Yeah.
NA is not applicable,
Oh, man.
SA is submitted by the applicant,
Okay,
RW is request a waiver, C is item complete planning board, completed by planning board, WA is a waiver action by Karen.
okay, thank you.
That's all right, all right.
Sometimes you
Fully
need help.
executed and signed application.
Sign that application. Yeah, you guys should have a copy right under the surveyor's report. On the handout I gave you,
Yeah.
surveyor's report, and some of the application.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep, there it is, I have a copy of that, I have a couple copies. Okay. All right, so that is there, correct? So planning board complete, right? 5 reduced copies, 11 by 17 of the plan. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking to Rob. Yeah,
Yeah, we have them, right? Yeah. Right over there, okay.
Do we? The 11 by 17, that's like this,
Big ones, I don't,
you don't have the little ones.
I left 11 by 17 when I dropped off.
did they?
Okay, so we don't know that yet until we find them. All right.
Oh, wait a minute, you're right. Okay.
We have them,
We
but
found
we'll double check. I have,
So we got another column, not sure?
No.
no, really glad.
Joking, I'm joking.
She said she had them, so I will take Robert's word.
Whatever.
Okay. 6 24 by 36, those are right there. Okay. Name and address, signature of the applicant on the application. You have that? Oh, there. Yeah. Okay. Onion juice. So Jeff Hurdle is the agent, signature.
Signature on the application.
Isn't that on the plan itself? Isn't that what we're talking about? We should be looking at the plan and going over these?
The question is the application.
Application.
You know, the application has a nice signature right here.
Oh, I don't have that page.
I don't either. They just, it must be in.
Oh,
Right on the front.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this page right here?
Yes,
Yeah, there it is.
page 2.
It's on the back.
Oh, page 1.
Yeah, there it is.
It's not.
Hey, I got you, I
It's not
got
the
it.
photo that I would expect it to be. So that's not.
Yeah. We're looking at a checklist here. Yeah, okay. He's already checked these things off.
Yeah.
Okay, item.
I'll let you.
Okay. Item 3, name and address, person of firm preparing the plan. Yep. There, that's Jeff, yes, Mr. Bertel. Name and address of all budding property owners. 2 pages over here. There. North arrow on the plan. There's a north arrow on the plan, I know. Yeah. yeah. Make sure the locust is on there also.
Yes, the north arrow is on the plan.
Locust. The locust.
The bug.
Yep, this is the locust.
Hope not, because are you not feeling well?
Should I stand here?
Yes, please do, yes.
You know what?
That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing.
Okay.
Let's see here. Plan to scale as so noted.
Yes.
Locust map showing general location, yes it is. That's up in the upper right-hand corner of the plan. That shows the property in relation to the surrounding properties. Property boundary lines inclusive of distances and angles plotted to scale.
Yes.
Areas, proposed lots in square feet and acres.
Yes. Yes.
Delineation of all wetlands and wetland buffers.
Yes.
Oh,
I will note that it does not include any vernal pools, which is called out in our wetlands, in our zoning ordinance.
that's a minor, I've got to go through here.
Can you make that a condition?
Uh,
Can you make
Yeah, that should be in his wetlands report and indicated on the map, because they're important.
Second. Date prepared, and that. Yep, date prepared. Locust map, yep, property boundary, delineation of wetlands, delineation of slopes over 25%. Yeah. Existing proposed topography of, in 5-foot intervals, 2-foot intervals of the major changes that are proposed. Second. Okay. Balance sheet of proposed cut and fill quantities with the maximum amounts stated. That would be alteration.
Yeah.
No, you're not,
We're not doing
you're not doing anything on that. No.
Not applicable.
Well, he's not doing, he's not changing anything.
Okay, hold on then.
Scaled roadway center line 50-foot increments. There's only one, well, there's no roadways in that. It's not
Yeah, correct.
not a development where a road is going into other lots. He has that little finger that goes down to finger, which will be part of the lot. Two lots. Location of any buildings within 50 feet of the subject site. Location of all roads, driveways within 200 feet of the subject title. That would be like Pinkham.
Yeah.
Location of infiltrating drainage systems within 200 feet or where appropriate. That's not applicable. Not putting any drainage or anything in there.
Are the existing culverts on that?
That'd be a question for the road agent. I think there are.
There's like
There's
five culvert, 7?
7.
Yeah.
Is it?
They're not noted.
They're not noted on the road.
Okay. Existing access roads, recreational trails, snowmobile trails, boundaries such as stone walls, barbed wire. So the only thing that you don't have on there are snowmobile trails.
Correct? Is that okay.
So,
So we would require that to be
Yep.
added.
Yep. Okay. Existing or proposed buildings, driveways, roads on the site. He's not proposing any roads or anything on the site. Just dividing lots. Or dividing selling lots or whatever you're doing. New road shall have a center line marked, that's,
Not applicable. No new line, no new road.
location of all building setbacks as required by the zoning ordinance.
New building
On-site flow of traffic, such thing. All existing services such as sewer, water, and utilities.
Well, they just had to, didn't they do some work with, the, telephone
Public service put down poles now.
poles? And they had to be removed, what was that, for lighting? What is that
They
for?
put them in, my understanding, and you can, they put, when, Eversource came out, they put where they wanted the poles located based on consultation with the road agent in terms of setback.
So that had,
Road for plowing and so forth, and a couple of the poles were put too close to the road, number one, and the reason they did that is because they ran into rock shelf.
ledge?
Ledge, and they didn't do it, so they had to come back and go through the ledge and they moved, right?
I'm not sure if it was rock ledge that caused it, but yes, they put it
Something
close to
that-
the road, and we were
They
required to
fixed
move
them
them back.
Yeah, they moved them back. Let's see here, all existing, okay. Provisions for storage, recycling, refuse when necessary. But we're getting into issues here if there was, a multi-road development like an Adam Way, that's the only thing I can think of. So that would not apply. Location, site, detail of signs, again, that would, nothing. Okay, we got a few more to go here. Location, size, detail of exterior lighting. Location, size, and detail of storage tanks, not applicable. Noting and defining the purpose of the plan. I think on the application, he did state the purpose of the plan, to subdivide lot so-and-so into specific.
Yes, project description.
It's on the top right on the plan.
Huh?
It's on the top right of the plan. The purpose of this plan is to show a concept.
Oh, okay, that's fine, that's good, that's good. Thank you. Brief history of the property, including other disturbances that have happened. And then type something out if you need
How brief does it need to be? We go back to the ice age or?
I think what you're looking for is, are there any locations of, sand pits or anything like
And
that?
again, he only knows what he can know. I mean,
I've
No.
been here for 23 years, 24 years, that area is so wet, it floods every year.
I mean,
General description of existing characteristics such as developed, productive farmland, meadow, forest, view sheds, archaeological sites, areas contiguous with other open space and wildlife. General description
Drainage. It's putting us, that is not applicable, but I don't know why you would think that.
sorry,
Are you putting,
So wait a minute, we gotta get back to, sorry.
same person.
are you at 33?
We're at 32.
Okay, thank you.
General description of existing, is that on the, I don't see that on the application. Product description.
It was, the other piece was on
What's where?
it was the other piece, the other descriptions. This piece is.
32. General description of existing characteristics such as developed or environmental, meadow, forest. So you would need to provide a general description of the nature of the property. Farmland, forest land, view shed, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna mark that will advise. Summary description of drainage upstream on the property and discharge downstream from the property. That's what we'll advise, but that'll be
That's
part.
what.
That's being worked on. Flood hazard information provided in conformance with requirements, 502, flood hazard item. Do not believe it's been a flood hazard.
I don't think so either, but we don't have the updated flood hazard maps, but I don't believe it is.
No.
Based on our current maps.
Yeah, based on the current map. Yeah. Brief history of the property, including other disturbances that have happened to the property. Good. Oh,
So why is it on
Wait a
twice?
minute, wait a minute.
Okay, never
you're
mind.
correcting me.
I'm looking over your shoulder.
All right. 35 is kind of a redundant, but that's what it, you know, it says brief history of the property, including other disturbances that may have happened to the property that you're aware of, I guess. I don't know, somebody tried to put a foundation or put a road in there or something.
Right, all of
There's
all of
only
that.
two cemeteries, well, the cemetery and then there's two old foundations that go back.
Yeah, well, cemeteries go back.
Well,
a long time.
yeah, but if he said there's two old foundation, those are important archaeological.
I don't know if there is. If
And we don't know if there is, but there's anecdotal evidence that there might be.
So
There's one on the road and then there's one way out back,
the survey should have picked that up.
foundation.
So if you would have your survey guy check that,
Yep.
that is brief history of, okay. Deed references for the property.
I don't see that. Are they looking for a book and page? Is that what they're looking for?
Yep.
It's on the plan.
It's on
Is it on the plan?
Yep.
Updated.
Should be up on the top right.
Right.
Note
No,
reference,
no record.
okay, note referencing delineation on the plan of all easements, rights of way, or deeded property restrictions. That would be noted on the plan. So there's no easements on that property, there's no right of ways on that property, and there's no deed property restrictions that you're aware of. Note indicating ownership of any open space to be created as part of the subdivision specification. In it. Utility plan, in A. Road, sidewalks, drainage, cross-section profiles, engineering specifications, in A. All parcels shall be numbered sequentially with no commissions of duplicates. The notation on the plan shall have and contain a list of the map and lot numbers. Parent tracks is identified by Town of Middleton assessing records. That is on there. Planning board approval block for space of the chair to sign. I believe that's on there.
Twice.
Seal and duly registered licensed land survey shall be affixed to the final plan, attesting that the final plan is substantially correct, that the survey will close within 10,000ths of a foot. 1/10,000th of a foot. All bounds and points are required to be set on each lot before issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Yeah. Planning board approval block for the chairs, yes, date of approval. Okay. All right. That completes the checklist of the things. So let me review what needs to be done. Needs to be clarified. Well, I started with mine.
Okay, oh, sorry.
Item 19 is the infiltration portion. Item 20 is existing snowmobile, recreation snowmobiles, stone walls, etc. That's number 20. Number 31, brief history of the property. 32 is the general description of the existing characteristics such as developed land, public farmland, meadow, forest, watershed, archaeological sites, so forth and so on. You're going to change that. Summary of description of drainage, that's in process. That's number 33. Number 35, brief history of the property, including other disturbances that happened to the property.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the soils either on that.
On the
That's it.
second page, Kate,
Is it?
I mean, the second page is what you're looking for. you're gonna go yes, correct? Is that what you're looking for?
No, God, no. No, I want to see the soil designations, the wetlands and the very poorly drained and the poorly drained soils.
It's on there.
No.
Well, that's gonna be on there when he does the wetland stuff.
Now, I want to know what types, there's different types of wetland soils, and they're not indicated then.
So, the application is deficient of some items, correct?
Right. Some significant items,
It's deficient of some items,
yes. Yes,
not significant items. It's a matter of opinion, okay?
That he is.
Okay, so, in terms of the application, I would say currently, it's not complete, correct?
not complete until we get this information and obviously some sort of path forward to resolve the boundary dispute.
So, we can decide right now that the application is not complete, okay?
That's right.
And that it be addressed at the next meeting. So I need a motion. So moved. There's a second.
Is it too late to bring up the fact that we need to look into the wetlands oversight, the stormwater drainage plan,
That will be
the
part of,
boundary dispute? I just want to reiterate, because it's important to me.
wait till we have discussion and then we'll do that.
Okay, I'll bring it up in a minute.
Is there a second to the motion? Who's second? Anybody want a second? Okay. Second to the motion that it is in
No, I'm not seconding.
discussion. Okay, go ahead.
So yes, I'd like to remind the board that we need to look into that wetlands oversight, the monitoring of wetlands. We've heard from various people how important, and that's from their direct lived experience, it's a wet area. And
So how does that work, Kate?
that is what we need to investigate. That's why this application is incomplete. We need to see how that can be done and to protect the town and to protect our valuable resource of the lake. It's in a very important watershed. And that also includes the stormwater drainage plan, part of that. And then, of course, the boundary dispute. We need a path to make sure that the town does not harm one of its citizens.
All right. Any further discussion? All, may I have a vote, please?
I was just gonna say, the things that you listed, what about, the fire department, police?
Oh, yes, you're very good for bringing that up. We need to send that letter out to the different departments and get their response.
Okay. There's no further discussion. I will vote. Roll call. Kate?
Kate, what am I voting on?
Motion is that the application is not complete.
I vote yes, it is not complete.
That's a hard one.
That is,
Yes, that's
thank
tough,
you.
right?
That's right.
John?
Agreed, incomplete.
Okay, and I agree. Motion is carried. So, our next meeting is January 9th?
Yes, January 9th.
January 9th, and the applicant would, got some things to do,
Mm-hmm.
and we have some things.
How are we gonna do this property lines?
What's that?
How are we gonna handle the property lines?
We'll address that if the application is complete, then we can go through the discussion of property.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'd just like to say fire pond.
Well, those are issues.
I just wanted to bring it up again.
That's okay. Those are issues that the fire department will talk about, hopefully.
How long
I
does
don't
it
want
take
to
to
leave it off the
survey
table.
Property.
I have no idea.
How long?
Depends how long out they are. They're about 8 to 10 weeks out right now.
Well, I'm just saying, if we have to review this in a month, I doubt the property dispute's gonna be clarified.
Well,
We might have a path forward.
Okay, well, maybe that's the path forward. I'm just,
Well, we'll address that.
on that
Okay,
bridge when we get there.
very good. Thank you. Right.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you keep that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Very
Hopefully
good.
Santa will bring in wetlands and
Coffee. So you have it?
Santa can do that, can he?
Oh, that's a coal, what's coal in your pocket?
Keep that.
No, Santa can bring a wetlands minute. Santa can bring all sorts of things. Just make rocking chairs.
Before everybody goes, I would like to thank you for coming, and I would again have the invitation, please join us. We need your help. There's only
How many person board is this?
7.
And we, I like this to have
And we're limping along.
We need your help. The more minds we have, the better job we do.
But public input's always welcome if you'd like to show up without.
Right, you don't have to be a member,
Yes.
or you can show up and we're certainly entertained.
We're committed, they're not.
We do have, yeah, you can be an alternate, which means you don't, they encourage you to be at the meeting, but you don't have to do the job that you do.
Don't tonight, Kate.
On the schedule next is public comment. Anybody have public comment?
Public comment?
Can we just take a brief break for a minute?
No.
Thank you for the work you do.
No, okay, that's.
We'll take a 5-minute recess.
5-minute recess.
No.
We
Review
were very
of
nice
minutes.
people.
Did everybody, minutes were quite long. Thank you for doing those again. Anybody have any issues with the minutes currently?
I wasn't here, so I'm not.
Hey, keeping you up?
No.
Did you read the minutes?
I saw that, I said something was unintelligible, but it wasn't that they were unintelligible, it was that they, we'll just leave unintelligible there. Yes, the minutes look great, I make a motion, I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I've heard that there's a rumor going around town that we don't have to approve minutes.
I was told, right? Bobby,
No, you don't have to sign it.
you don't have to approve them either. I was told by Mr. Buckley in the seminar last fall, so we went to write the note or something, that you don't have to approve the minutes.
So what's the purpose in reviewing them?
Make sure they're right.
Yeah.
You want to edit them or correct them, I mean,
All right.
I think we
make them, I mean, the minutes, we have minutes available within 5 minutes, or 5 days, okay? Those are her notes, which are pretty scribbly scrabbly, plus we have this thing here. That's all we need to produce. We don't even need to redo it, we can just file.
Yeah, well, but I can tell you, the electronic is not considered.
No,
minutes of minutes.
but we could produce a minute.
They're also useful.
Right, no, and I think the process should remain the same unless you find it, but I mean, I think it's a matter of, because then you have something that's actually readable form, that's quick and easy versus trying to gather something together
Yeah,
because
as a-
somebody's questioning something.
Being the chair, as a policy, I would say we review minutes,
Yes.
make sure that they're correct.
Means
Is
if
that
it's
one
a,
of the rules of procedure, is that something?
I have to check that.
No, that's fine, that's what I've heard, and I hope it's a good question, but I think, for me, I prefer going over the minutes,
Yeah,
so that anything I might say gets misconstrued.
Well, you want to correct the.
I want to correct everything I said.
I can say, when I was over at the HMA, it was noted that you don't have to, like, on the
Sign.
books, you don't have to sign it.
Maybe I misunderstood, because
But we
I thought you
don't,
said
you don't
you
have
don't.
to sign the approval, but we do, we have to,
Well, then that means you don't have to.
well, we signed them showing that we approved them, that's all.
Well, and we do it by a vote,
Right.
and you do too.
We do too, but we
Yeah,
also.
you sign them, yeah.
And we don't technically have to sign it. We don't.
Communications, I don't have any communications.
You have no problem communicating.
Okay, budget review. The only thing in the budget review is, we are gonna have some legal expenses, about $150. It's not reported in. That was the email that Christine sent
Yeah.
about,
Oh,
Mr. Sindorf's issue.
yeah.
And I also will have, because I asked how much that would cost, because I sent them an email to discuss our procedures and process on this dispute.
Yes. Okay, so good. That's what I was gonna ask you about.
Yes, I'm trying to get a clarification
Right.
on what we should be doing and how do we handle
Yes.
that versus that.
That's what yes, and that's what I'm gonna recommend that. Similar to what I had Christine said, that's what.
Christine, the response to that, actually, on Sindor,
So the question that got asked, and Christine sent over to legal, our legal, was that, you know,
there was a couple things.
there were two things. One was in regard to the easement to the gentleman who has property behind the single property that's landlocked.
And the deed
A deed, but there's nothing that says an easement or whatever. So we
wasn't
asked,
final.
we asked specifically about, you know, what our role would be for that. And then the other piece is that, family issue, and you can speak to what.
Family issue is not in our wheelhouse. It's not our purvey to make judgment on that. That would be a civil suit.
Yeah.
Same goes for
the
the dispute between a deed or a landowner on anything versus that. It's not, we go by the information that's provided. That's what the attorney told us.
Right. But remember, they did.
I know what you're gonna say. We can't
What-
make a judgment on something that's
I,
illegal, but
we
we
had
don't know.
we had a case where a surveyor came before the board. The situation is on Lake Shore Drive. There's, next to Evelyn Campbell's house, there's two, blah, 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 those houses that are on top of each other. What do they call those? Anyway,
beds.
two houses side by side. They presented a survey. Well, we didn't check the survey because they're surveyors, and surveyors will not risk their licenses to file a false report.
Okay.
So we approved that subdivision. Maybe, I don't know, 6 months later, they came back. They had made mistakes on their survey. So we had to do a lot line. The houses were built. We had to do a lot line adjustment
That's what I was-
on two houses that should never have been built because they're too close to the property
I
lines.
get-
And that is
So
because
what-
the surveyors made a
So
mistake.
what do we do? Do
We hire,
we hire a survey for every survey that is presented?
no, we hire a survey where there is a dispute and we are gonna harm a citizen of this town. And it's at the developer's expense,
Or the property owner?
the developer.
What about,
We hire-
what about an individual property owner? That there's a dispute, they come to before the board, he wants I don't know, he wants a lot line adjustment or something, and the abutter says, no, you can't do that because the lot line isn't there, whatever it is. So we will automatically hire a survey.
We have that
to-
power.
Huh?
We do have that power.
I know we do, I'm saying from a reality point of view, to harm a particular, are we gonna make that a policy, that there's a dispute, we're gonna hire
It's in-
an attorney, we're gonna hire?
It's in our regulations where you can hire.
I understand that, so then we're gonna have that property owner incur some cost, additional cost on his development, whether it's 2 lots, 3 lots.
I'm not going to harm any citizen. I'm not going to create an illegal
What if the
situation.
citizen is a citizen of Middleton and owns that property and wants to, he's a property owner?
And we're not going to accept a lot line adjustment if it's not legally done or verified that the other one has a dispute. We're not going to take property from them.
So we should
And
have.
let's not talk in hypotheticals, please, because
Okay.
I could say, what if? I'm talking about this situation and this, and we shouldn't even be discussing it because we've closed that and moved on.
Well,
But
it's-
Scott there had
It's a
a comment.
discussion about,
Legal.
legal,
Survey.
what we're doing.
What legal has advised us.
On that particular situation.
Well, I have a question. Now, they
Wait a
mentioned,
minute, so we're done, so you've said what?
I said, we have another situation.
No, but I mean, so you explained that legal, but the response was for both, but the two responses for the Sindorf one was on the back property, which is a civil matter, and again, family, it's a civil matter, so it's nothing to do with the planning board, it's not.
It's not a line, we're not adjusting a line, we're not changing anything.
No, but I am just commenting to what we had asked legal about regarding
Yeah.
Sindorf, that's what I'm talking.
Yep.
So now John has sent another one to.
I need a clarification on, advice on where we are supposed, what we are supposed to leave. And my question is, if we make a decision, okay, Here it is. This is what I sent the attorney. Now, I sent this to him on Wednesday. I know that's probably not enough time for attorneys to do anything, but I did. Is the planning board obligated to proceed with an application and require a butter to resolve the issue with the applicant by himself, between amongst themselves? In reviewing an applicant's application, what is the planning board to take as precedent, deed or signed plot survey? Can we proceed with the application? Even if the butter says this deed is correct, the applicant's signed survey says otherwise, and the planning board approves the subdivision as presented. What happens if the abutter sues and wins, and the boundary lines must be corrected? Well, I kind of know that. The last part of that question, is the planning board putting itself in jeopardy? So these questions can be expanded. We'll see when you come back to it. I've already answered my own question. Is if the deed is found incorrect, if the approved plan is found incorrect, and the abutter comes and says, I have another plan, they come before the planning board, we take a look at it, and I suppose we would do the same thing, hire another attorney for that landowner.
Not hiring an attorney, a surveyor.
A survey, which costs more money, but that's okay. We would do that, and then
We're not hiring a surveyor for the gentleman, we're hiring a surveyor for accurate information to create, just because we would hire a surveyor to verify.
to verify that that is correct, because somebody has brought up a contention. Why does the town, well, the property owner is going to pay for it, right? Is that what you're
The
saying?
developer, not the
Property
property.
owner. I call it the property.
And I call it the developer.
Well, you call it what you want to call it, I'll call it property.
And I'll call it,
I know what you call it. Okay, we move on.
Could I get a?
No,
Yes, you get.
Do I need to be here then? That's my question now. I can leave.
No, you want to leave? No.
I damn right I want to leave if I
All
can't
right,
get
make
a
an
question.
excuse. We have enough here. You want to go? I'll make
Well,
a
what's
note.
left?
I'll make a note that John wanted to leave.
No, I want questions.
We're gonna get through this quickly. We can go in about 10 minutes.
no, what's your question?
No. If I can't get questions answered, I'm going to leave. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, go ahead. That's your question.
They mentioned that previous planning boards, which have nothing to do with us, approved these plans. Now that means the town has some liability. They're not going to give him his tax dollars back. He's found in the right. He has been paying for 5 acres when he only has 3.5. That's a past issue we can't fix.
Oh, no, you're gonna deal with a lawsuit on that.
Right, but again, no,
That's why I'm
no.
saying,
Especially if the planning board accepts it.
Right, I'm just
Planning
saying,
board accepts his
Yeah.
plan as written and says that's the dog.
that's what I'm saying. What do we
He's
put
gonna
ourselves?
file a lawsuit, and we're gonna, however long he's been paying taxes, we're gonna pay all his legal fees, and we're probably.
You've already done that. You've already done it. Have you already done that?
I mean,
No?
no, but the
So-
planning board can't fix that. That's a legal
no,
issue.
no, that's not something you can fix, but you can require
Yep.
the landowner, developer, however you want to refer to them. You can require them to pay for you to have somebody to confirm the validity
Yes.
of what they're presenting. Because a neutral detached surveyor who has nothing involved for either party.
Right, because as we know, there's,
And that would protect.
we can't survey a whole town, but we do it by case basis to make sure that they're buying what they're paying for what they get.
No, not necessarily. I mean, if somebody goes and buys the property, a house that's for sale, that hasn't had a survey on it, and the deed says you have 10 acres, and then you get it surveyed, you only have 8, that's not the town's fault. That's based off of history of what was
Yeah.
recorded with the town however many years ago. Because, I mean, a lot of those old deeds say, give or take 10 acres, give or, approximately 125 acres.
Yeah.
And, so I will go and look at it and say, oh, this would be map, whatever, such and such, and I look at it now and it says, the deed says it was 130 acres, but the tax kiosk says it's 112 acres.
You don't even have to be that lofty. You could be buying a 1/4 acre lot in the Lake District.
Well, that's,
That's scary.
And you
We
could,
should be able to-
I'm just saying, but if they buy it, you're taking it as like, this is what the deed says.
right.
There's
yes.
no survey requirements since it's property owner. Like, yes, then there's more complex land, but we all know that we're not Yeah.
before a situation is created, we need to ascertain the validity of the data that's been given to us.
I agree.
Because as I spoke before on my little Lakeshore Drive situation with the surveyors there,
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking to me that I created two illegal lots, two houses too close to the sidelines, because they gave us bad information.
Well, again,
And
we don't want to open up the town to liability, that's for sure.
All right, John, what else do you have?
Okay, on the rules of procedure, okay? I have found a copy of the rules of procedure that go back to like 2002, but I can't confirm whether they are approved. We should have rules of procedure. Last meeting, I gave out a copy of the proposed rules of procedure, and we put it off until tonight. We have to do a couple things. We have to look at those rules of procedure. I didn't include them in your packet tonight.
No, this is last.
It's basically taking the, huh? Yeah, it's basically taking the suggested state language, and I just copied it. Okay, the rules of procedure tell us how we proceed, how we do meetings, how we call meetings, so forth and so on. So we can adopt them, and then we have a hearing and explain what they are.
Yep.
We have to have a hearing.
Oh, okay.
So, we can put this off. I'd like to get these done.
Why don't we just do it in January?
All right, so can I have a motion that the, and Kate, you could abstain?
I'm gonna have to abstain.
Yeah, okay. Have a motion that the rules of procedure that I submitted for review last meeting, be approved.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second?
Guess I'll second it.
Don't let us force you.
We can change it. We can change it.
Do you have a copy of those?
Yeah, right here.
Can you send those?
How
I'll
often,
send it.
how often are you gonna review them? How often will they be reviewed or did?
Well, it's been 22 years since these were reviewed,
So
maybe a
if we
little.
do it now, we won't have to do, I'll even.
That was 22 years? No, that wouldn't be alive.
Kate, we won't have to worry.
I-
All right, let's let it go.
I won't be here.
I take my question back.
You
It's
can be
probably,
here.
maybe it should be something like every 5 years, and maybe we can make that as. a-
Okay, any discussion on that?
Yes, I'd say these, what are you talking about? I say we have to, every 5 years, we should do like a capital
Yeah,
improvement
that's
plan. But instead of saying it, and not doing it, let's do it.
Well, just, no, can we add that on here?
Sure.
Yeah, so we'll add it on there.
Yeah,
You can add
that's,
it.
And
I
then
mean-
let it, fall by the wayside, and something like, it's been some years, and we haven't done this, but.
I will make an amendment that we add a section on reviewing the
Yeah, every-
rules of procedure every 5 years from the
Yes.
date of approval,
I like that.
okay? And I will make that amendment. Or I'll make another.
Review every how many years?
5.
Right. So
5.
proper procedure, I guess, would be, we had a motion on the floor.
I will amend my second.
But we haven't voted yet.
Nope.
So I propose an amendment, which has to be voted on before we vote on the motion.
Or just,
So the motion is,
Or you
I
can
can
just
make a
amend-
motion. The motion is I add a timeframe for reviewing the rules of procedure for 5 years. Is there a second?
I still second it.
Okay, any discussion? None, okay. The amendment carries, therefore, the motion is amended to say,
All those in favor,
Aye.
I
Kate,
can't figure that out.
Yeah, let's see.
Got it.
See, we're so official, Justin, with.
Okay, so that's the second, that was the second
Yeah.
motion.
So the first,
There's the original motion, and I made an amendment to the motion, which we voted on first. Then the motion is changed to add,
Okay.
we approve the rules of procedure as amended.
as amended,
Okay.
Is the hearing gonna be in January?
Sure.
I mean, just,
We're gonna be busy in January, we might have to start at 3.
okay.
you can
Okay.
start whenever you want, I'll be here when I
Let
can.
me do one more thing, and then we can get out of here. Zoning ordinance review, which we're gonna do next week.
Yeah.
I sat down with regional planning, and ask them what it would cost, what it would be involved, for them to be involved in helping us go through the ordinance. Okay? And so
This would be for 2025.
this would have to be, yes,
This would not be going on to meet the town for the meeting on.
if we can do it, I told them we have a time frame.
Okay, all right, okay, no, that's what I was looking at.
Our first meeting is January 10th, is I think the earliest we can do a hearing on amendment changes.
Oh, okay.
All right, so, what was it? Regional planning assigned a planner to us.
Yeah?
So the planner asked me, what are the, because I sent him a copy, this whole damn thing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is the copy of my ordinance as we marked up in red.
Yep.
So, and I gave it to him. And we sat down for an hour and a half going through this. And the question he asked, what are the most important things that you want to take a look at in here? And I have, these were the things that I suggested. And I'm going to make this quick because update private campsites, delete the entire family compound. We know how to do that. We can do that without his advice. Setbacks. What are the setbacks? What do we want to improve the setbacks? There's 15 references of 20, no, there's 50 references in the zoning ordinance of setbacks.
Yeah, but that's because there's different areas. You got
Right,
the
but
open
that's
space
not what I'm
conservation,
saying.
they get a different setback because they're,
I get it. So I said setbacks are, and I was thinking of you, Kate.
I knew you were.
Setbacks. I asked questions about several articles, and you asked this, several articles list RSA statutes. Do we need to update those or pay attention to them? It all depends on how you word it. You can put a, like RSA 674:5 as amended. Then you don't have to change it. Yeah, we'll get into that when we start discussing.
Well, my question was, is the Comprehensive Shoreline Protection Act has been changed to those shoreline
You
water.
can just say,
So does it just automatically change with the law of the state, or, you know what I mean?
no.
We have to change it in our
No,
ordinance.
no. Well, if we are basing other issues on that report, we can say all conservation issues, all water quality issues, whatever, the shoreline protection follows RSA, blah, 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 as amended. We don't have to say anything else. We go by that.
And as the law changes at the state level, it follows through the town.
For all through town. We don't have to
Yes.
update it. The courts, what I was told, the court, even if you don't do that, the courts will understand that you, even though you didn't
What
update
the
it,
intent is.
the intent was to update it. So we can go through doing that. Okay. Right-of-way is mentioned several times. You know, the definition of a right-of-way, I will get into that. What is the right-of-way? Explain, this was for me, explain conditional use permits, special exception permits. They have to be listed specifically. I kind of know the answer that they do, but I wanted a clarification. This is the planner. Update the ADU, that's a biggie.
Yeah.
Because that's a
There's been
big
lot of
loss.
change.
But I mean, for reading
Additional
what other
dwelling
towns have been doing for their ADUs, I think our ADUs are pretty good. I mean, in the fact that we're not very, we're not like, you
But
can't
he's
have.
gonna look at that and make sure that
Well,
we're in compliance with the new regulations.
I noticed we have two types of ADUs,
Yeah.
one that needs to be attached and one that can be freestanding. But I'll tell you that the most important thing to me is that I know somebody had said something about clarification on septic systems. We need to know where in the state, how do you do multiple septic systems on a lot with all these dwelling units?
That.
And how are they approved? And remember the guy that came over, he was off a access road and he wanted to do something, he wanted to add it 55 and plus?
Yeah.
And he wanted to do, and you said, you referred him to the state for septic, and I don't know where that reference is or where in the state you get that information.
Well, he wanted to, yeah, that was out behind Paul Taylor's garage,
There-
he's buying, he wanted.
there
And somebody had said you're gonna bring a septic guy in.
Well, going as fast as I can go.
Yeah, you know, he's not gonna be here much longer.
So tomorrow, yeah,
Well, I will
that's
be on-
why I'm trying
I will
to.
be on the septic, but that's part of our,
It would be nice if they would get clarification on that, yeah.
that's part of our watershed. Okay, we're moving on. Definitions need to be updated. Fences.
Yeah, why do you have anything in there about fencing?
You know, I pulled
Is it fences or fencing?
fences.
Check.
I went
Fencing,
through
because there's a fencing,
most
some
of the,
fences.
you know the town reports?
Yeah.
They're at the University of New Hampshire archives, and they go back to
Yeah, no,
18,
I know.
they're all over the place. So fences, Janet used to say, the fence is not 42, it's supposed to be 48. I don't care what she says, whether it was a mistake or not, it was approved as 42 inches high in the village.
Well, why do you even have anything about fences?
Well, that's a question we should address, because I'm saying on a 42-inch fence, is there anybody that sells, does Home Depot, Lowe's,
You
Hammond,
could have asked Paige, she wasn't supposed to.
do they sell a 42-inch fence?
They sell 42-inch boards, you might have to come down the street.
I am not gonna build a fence, I wanna buy a panel and put it in, if I do that. I'm just gonna write somebody a check and put the fence.
I was just like, what do other towns do?
Cut it
So-
in half.
What's that?
You have to cut it in half.
Got it, well, there is a fence that is in violation that the code enforcement never enforced, and it's over on Pinkham Road, and it's 6 foot high. I gave her pictures, I did everything, nothing,
Yeah, welcome to my world.
nothing. So it's been a few, okay, we move on. Okay, so Article 47.
That's a lobby.
Okay, this was another question I asked. We say in the ordinance here, if it's not listed, it's not allowed.
Is that allowable? Is
So,
that acceptable, I should say?
well,
Because I feel-
municipal association says, well,
Yeah, see?
and I don't like well.
I don't either. See, that's why I'm like, either it's in or it's out.
It's, right, I'm a black and white when it comes to the law. There's no wiggle room.
There's no gray room.
There's no gray area.
Just gray water.
No gray water allowed.
No gray water either.
Okay, so, to look at this, he gave me a spreadsheet in terms of cost.
Oh, yeah. What's the cost?
I'm acting like Janet. I am sitting in your chair.
No, I have it somewhere, I'll send it off. We put down the number of hours, look at all these things. This would be a plus or minus. You don't have.
No, it's not what it's saying, because we have a.
We have 72.
Right. There's something, well, there's some things. So how much would it be?
$2,700.
So, it is. But hypothetically, to get it in for this year, can we make it payable? Make it payable.
Well, I would say we had to get it done before January, which is not a lot.
No, right, yeah.
So if we can't get it done in time, okay, I'm gonna get back to, I want a motion, I'd like to have a motion that we, and I'm not allowed to sign contract, right? Yeah, 6 times you're written sign contract.
Yes, you are.
Am I?
I don't think they have any ordinances on that at all.
No, this would be a legal,
Like-
binding
What
contract.
I'm saying is the town has, you don't have any ordinances or procedures on, like having to put things out to bid, or having the planning board chair sign a,
Right, there are some things that have to go out, like bid for some things, but this does not have, this is.
but so there's procedures and there's a written instruction about things put
No.
out for bid?
No.
I mean, other than a truck. Well, I'm just asking, I don't know.
I'm gonna say there is one.
Yeah.
No, right, I'm like, I'm gonna have.
All I'm asking.
Run
is
across
that
it.
They asked me, do you have the authority to sign the contract?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
All right,
You're
so-
spending
Budget.
planning board money.
Money, okay. So I make a motion that we proceed with the contract of 20, not to exceed
Not to exceed.
3,000.
Okay, I'll second that. This is.
Stratford Regional Plan.
Stratford Regional Planning, I was gonna say, just for Robin's clarification.
Is that the circuit rider or Stratford?
That is basic.
It's
No,
like a
that's
one-time.
another subject. This is specifically, this is a circuit rider, but this is a specific for the zoning ordinance only.
Yeah, and not to exceed 3,000. I
Not to
will second
exceed.
that.
Right. Circuit rider, I would suggest for next year. And
one step at a time,
one step at a time.
right?
Okay. Any,
I will tell you that I hope to bring a a town map. It won't be updated, but we need
I'm not
to, we
accepting
need,
that little wiggle thing.
yeah, oh, you're getting my little wiggle thing, and, you're gonna look at the town and you're gonna say, well, there isn't much left to subdivide.
There is,
Yeah, there is.
You think there is?
Yeah.
I think there is.
there is.
My
I think
neighborhood,
there is.
In your neighborhood?
Yeah, well, he does, actually, that big,
yeah.
lot of.
there are two properties that are,
So when we look at revising the ordinances, we look at protecting what we have around the
We may.
watershed.
I started going through this thing. And I know we were late in looking at it, I understand, but we're all,
You've been
I'm not
one,
making excuses.
no, but you've been
So
busy.
we may not do anything. We may say, we need more time based on the conversations we had here today and going through these things. I don't know. We'll see what he says if he can get this accomplished. We can always do, like you said, Kate, one step at a time. We can do, these are minor updates on this ordinance here. This ADU is probably the biggest one to clarify. To get more involved with changing the ordinances and the site regs, we can change anytime. Anytime. Without
That's-
approval.
That's right. It's just,
Yes, are we got, is there any further discussion on the, right, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Like how I moved that line.
You can critique us, please do.
no, not tonight.
This is
It's my first night. Come on.
This is a,
I want to make it home by at least 9, Kitty.
this is a
good luck with
marathon.
that.
This is a marathon. Rules of procedure, home enterprise registration, I gave that to you. That was in response that we have under the home ordinance that you have to fill out the form at the planning board. We never had a form. So remember I gave you a form? I gave you a form. I created a form. I make a motion that we accept the form that I gave to you on, you weren't here.
Oh, cute.
January 9th. Do I hear a second?
get to us next
No,
month.
he gave it to you on November 21st.
Yeah, November 21st. Thank you, that's good.
What is the form for?
We have, according to the zoning ordinance, if you are having a home business, you have to fill out a form. It's basic.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
a
know.
basic form.
We emailed.
Would that be the home enterprise?
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
Right here,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's just, that's, I
So
just
you're
copied
making a
that.
motion to accept?
Accept that, yes.
I make a motion to accept the home enterprise
You're
registration.
gonna second the motion?
He made the motion.
I second the motion.
I'm abstaining.
Oh, we
You wanna read it?
Any discussion?
No.
This is called railroad.
It's getting things done, huh?
I know, I'm getting there. Okay,
All in favor?
all right, motion carried.
Okay.
Okay.
Kate abstained.
I think that's all I had.
Really?
I don't know.
I'm only kidding. I'm only
You're usually more provoked.
Can I ask, well, I'll wait till we're done. So I'll make a motion, so if we're good, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:54.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Motion
Okay, no
carried.
discussion.
Meeting adjourned at what time?
8:54.
8:54. Thank you very much.